What up, y'all? Happy Monday. We'll get started in just a second. I'll give my man a proper introduction in just a second. We're waiting for people to funnel in. It's another Two Lost Office Hours Monday. I think these conversations are just getting better and better. These guests dropping so many gems. If you aren't tapped into these, please set your calendar 12 p.m. every Monday, 12 p.m. Pacific every Monday. This is information that you're not going to get too many other places. These people are experienced music professionals. They come here, they share information. Um, and I wish I had access to information like this in 2008 when I was trying to figure out like how to maneuver in music because it's tough. The music industry is tough. So to have all these experienced people come every Monday and to drop so many gems, man, I would have paid a lot of money for it. And we offer it to you for free. You don't even got to be a Two Lost member. Anybody can tap into these. So we'll get started in just a second. I got to make sure that we are good to go on Instagram. I know last week we had some issues on Instagram, but hopefully if you're on YouTube or LinkedIn or Twitch or Twitter, still refuse to call it X, or Instagram, you should be tapped in. I see some people in the comments. Jacqueline, I see you on YouTube. Sandrune, I see you on YouTube as well. Please drop some comments to let me know that you are in the building. We are about to get started. Two Lost Office Hours. And if you haven't signed up for Two Lost, there's a code that's scrolling across the screen. All it is office hours. You can check it out for free. But again, you don't need to use Two Lost to tap into these, but I don't know why you wouldn't. It's the best music distribution platform out there. So tap in. Just use the promo code office hours and you'll get 3 months free. Even if you just want to log in and check it out, feel free to do that. I see Dang said, what up? Been a member for about a month now. Welcome to the family, Dang. Appreciate you. All right, let's get it started. All right, Sam, before I give you your intro, I typically like to ask my guests, like, what wins did you get in the past week? We like to share our wins here. We want to make sure that people are stacking wins, building positive momentum, especially on a Monday, just kind of going into the week.
Yeah.
It doesn't have to be anything too crazy. I know a lot of people start thinking like, man, did I like shoot a whole music video? Did I drop a whole project? It don't have to be nothing like that. It could be professional. What wins do you got for me?
Love it. 3 weeks ago or 4 weeks ago today, I got married. So that's
there it is. I need some sound effects in here. I need to build out. I'm in Nashville right now for music biz, so I'm not in my office, but I need to build out my office so I can get the sound effects going. I need to raise the production value on these sessions. But my apologies for cutting you off. So you got married. That was huge.
Yeah, I got married. Thank you. Yeah, it was amazing. It was a month ago today, April 13th. So nice. Big personal win. Obviously, we went away after that. So been digging back out of the inbox for the past couple of weeks. And I feel like I'm finally back in a place where we're rocking and rolling. So business wins. Last week, we sent a couple massive proposals out to some label clients for some influencer marketing campaigns. So hopefully those will land, or some of those will land, but always love getting to put proposals together because it's a unique side of the brain that we don't get to flex on a daily basis to, get as creative and out of the box as we can.
There it is. We might talk more about that in this session. But today, my guest, Sam Saideman, he is the CEO of Innovo. He's been working with creators and influencers for a very long time, specifically with brand partnerships. He's got a bunch of other experience as well, but this is why I brought him on today, because I know that artists want to learn how to make other types of, open up other revenue streams, right? And you are the man to talk about this with. But before we just kind of jump into questions, give people a little bit more detail about your background.
Yeah, for sure. So I started Innovo in 2014 in Nashville. It started back then as a music management company. So we were focused on putting musicians first and creating an environment that served as an umbrella for artists to explore and get creative and not worry about the business side of the industry, and know that someone was there protecting them and focusing on that. Through the years, we pivoted in 2017 to rolling out our label services side. So we started providing a la carte and retainer marketing services for everyone from independent artists to distribution companies to labels. And then obviously pandemic hits, everyone's pausing on marketing campaigns and trying to make sure they can, cover their own necessary bills. And so we pivoted as a business to managing influencers and protecting content creators the same way we protected artists. So we widened that scope from put the music first to put the art first, all encompassing of art and content and music. And then by 2021, we rolled out our agency side. So where we started running influencer marketing campaigns for labels and for brands. And that's allowed us to work with everyone from That Mexican OT to Vistaprint, Crayola, Zales, John Batiste, and tons of others. So in my day-to-day, I do a mix of managing our roster and looking for opportunities for them to diversify, as well as putting proposals together in business development on the brand and label side for marketing campaigns.
Dope. So let's jump into this because I believe that it's the best time ever to be a creator. And one of those reasons is there's so many different revenue streams out there. And artists and creators, they always hear about these brand deals. They might see the brand deals. They might not have access to them yet. But at what point in your career should you start thinking about brand deals or reaching out to brands?
Sure. Obviously, like a follower number is such a hard thing to hone in on because every campaign is completely different, right? You have micro campaigns where the strategy is to target creators or artists or whomever who with small social media followings. Some are macro and hero campaigns, and then going left of center, you even have UGC campaigns, which stands for user generated content, which is essentially not leveraging your audience, but leveraging your content creation abilities to create content for a brand to use, right? Without leveraging your following. So there's a multitude of ways you can leverage content and leverage brand deals to make money. And it's not just built on like a follower size more than it is like the ability to create content that's interesting outside of your like day-to-day selling of your own music or your own products. So that's the first thing. And then the second thing I always tell creators is when you notice that the people following you no longer have a relationship to you outside of your work, that's usually when you can start leveraging that audience, right? So if I'm gaining followers and they're not people I went to college with or people I know in my day-to-day work or people I know in my personal life, if they're complete strangers who are connecting with me for the content I'm creating and finding value in that content, that's when you start to have some snowball effect and of being able to leverage your following to earn revenue.
So the feedback or the suggestion that I always give creators, even small creators, as they're building out their world, I encourage them to tag the brands and the products that they're authentically like using or just are authentically part of their world, so that if when they do get connection with this brand, like, hey, this is a genuine connection. You can look back to my post 2 years ago.
Right.
I was tagging you guys 2-3 years ago.
Totally.
Is that something that they should be doing in the early days? What's kind of your response to that?
Yeah, I think tagging a brand never hurts, right? It's like sending an email or shooting your shot in a very like light, easy way. So I don't think that hurts, but I would say like the pathway for a lot of brands to test working with creators, especially on a smaller scale, will start with gifting, where they're gifting you a product, right? So let's say it's a phone charger. They're sending you a free phone charger in the mail and any other products aligned with that they sell. And they want to see that you're naturally and organically going to use them. A lot of bigger creators will take gifting, but without guaranteeing any posting. But at the micro level, you should be getting gifts and you should be shouting them out and posting and using that to show the brand, hey, this fits organically into my content and I have a genuine affinity for this product and I'm interested in this product. And this is why you should spend money marketing through me, right? So I think tagging a brand is a great way to like knock on the door and then move, rather than moving into immediately trying to charge them money and building this relationship that's built on transactions. Let's try to build genuine relationships there and see if there's product giftings or see if there's other opportunities to connect with the brand, and then building from there and providing value first, which is anything in business. Anyone in business will tell you provide value first before you are trying to take. So that's my strategy with smaller creators.
Yeah, I tag a lot of brands just sometimes to give free stuff. Like, I'm not interested in brand deals and things for me personally. Maybe I should be, but sometimes I just get free stuff. I remember there's a smoothie brand called, I think it's Koya. They sent me like a packet of 25 like free coupons for drinks. So these brands will show you love if they feel like you're authentically a fan of what they do. So stuff. I'm jumping forward, but since you talked about gifting, at what point should a creator be like, okay, I feel like I need to be paid for this. I'm tired of like posting for free stuff. Like, when do they turn that corner? What are some of those signs that you might be able to get paid for it instead of just getting free stuff?
Yeah, the obvious one that jumps out to me on the spot is demand. Like, if we'll talk about this for sure, but you should definitely have your email in your bios everywhere. If you are getting reached out to by tons and tons of brands and tons of like middlemen agencies that are working with brands, that's usually a telltale sign for like, okay, people want to work with me pretty consistently here, and maybe I have something, right, that's in demand. So that's usually where I start to say, okay, can we start to build upon these relationships? And obviously keep in mind, one product is not equal to the next product. If someone's offering you a free Peloton bike for a post and someone's offering you a free phone charger, going back to the last example, those are not equitable partnerships, right? Where one's giving you a $700 bike or whatever to do a post, and one's giving you a $5 phone charger. So it's a mixture of like seeing that the demand is there, seeing that the genuine interest is there, and knowing what value you can provide as a creator.
Yeah, no, that's a good point. Like the value of the products they send. Obviously, a Peloton is $3,000, $4,000. A phone charger is tens of $20, whatever. But also, like, your platform may not be the same value to that brand as another brand.
100%.
Can you talk about that and how, like, just because artists need to understand that, so it can't be like the same pitch to everybody, right? Talk a little bit about how you think through that.
Yeah. So what I like to do, like an exercise I like to do with my creators, by the way, being all encompassing of musicians and content creators, because these days it's kind of one and the same. To promote your music, you're leveraging content, which makes you a content creator. So I like to set up a whiteboard or a notepad. If you don't have a whiteboard, set up a 2-minute timer. You want it to be short, and without stopping and without erasing, write down all of the interests you have in the world. So for me, it might be obviously music, but also boxing and soccer and traveling, and writing down all of these things, whether they're in your content already or just interests that you have. You should be writing them all down. And then I like to stop, look over it, and then do it again on a separate column, and do ones that I'm already talking about in my content, or ones that have natural affinities to the content I'm creating. That usually tells me what value I can provide to brands, right? I play soccer. I watch soccer. I'm a diehard Arsenal fan. That doesn't mean I talk about soccer in my content, right? And so doesn't mean that anyone following me cares about soccer either, just because I love soccer. So in that scenario, even if, LAFC wanted to collaborate with me, I'm not sure that I would provide much value to them outside of I love soccer, but my audience may not, right? So that's a good example of a place where I may be interested in or love the niche, but I'm not going to provide any value to the brand. So I think it's being like critically hard on yourself to like really like remove the fluff, and let's look at this from an emotionless perspective and say, like, would I actually provide value to this brand? Like, who your audience is, how people are engaging with the things you put out in the world. So by knowing that, what value you're going to provide to different types of things. So you should be acting accordingly. If I know that I talk about more business stuff or more mental health stuff, then I know my audience probably likes hearing from me about those things. So when I'm promoting products around those things, I know that my audience will find value in it, and thus I will provide value to that brand. So you have to kind of remove the fluff a little bit and get honest with yourself.
Indeed. I lived in London for a couple of years, and I adopted Arsenal as well. This was a long time ago, like when Thierry Henry was playing.
Love it.
So dope. So, okay. So give some advice to an artist that, like, okay, I want to reach out to this brand either via email or DM. What should this messaging consist of, and how long and how long should it be?
Sure. Very different techniques: Instagram, DMing brands, and emailing brands. I like to start, if the creator themselves is reaching out, I like to start with an Instagram DM to the brand. I think it's like the most meeting them at the level you're at, right? Like, you're not behind your computer all day as a content creator, like typing emails. So shoot them a DM and just start there. Oftentimes they will push you on a DM to like shoot us an email at info at, and it's something generic, right? Which is usually a waste of time for getting like building true relationships with brands. So my next strategy from there is I go to LinkedIn. At this point, LinkedIn is like the best tool for finding decision makers at any brand, at any company, right? So if it's Nike, let's say, I'm going to Nike's page on LinkedIn, I'm searching by people, and I'm typing keywords such as influencer marketing, anything like that. And I'm going to look through all the people and try to find job titles that align with the work that I'm trying to do. And then I'm going to search those people on another platform that might give me their email, like an Apollo.io or ZoomInfo or Hunter. There's tons of these platforms. And you can find that person's email with a decent chance that it's the correct email. And I like to start there rather than sending to an info at, because you just have a better chance of reaching the right person. And those info ads are usually inundated with a bunch of people reaching out, right? So you got to get a little scrappy for sure. But going that route, I usually start with like intro about who I am, keep it super concise. You know, I'm a content creator who makes X, Y, and Z. I'm based here. My following looks like X, Y, and Z. My audience are typically people who X, Y, and Z, right? Just short paragraph. I love your brand because, couple sentences about why. Maybe you have a funny story or a unique story that you can share that's unique to you and showcases your true authentic interest in the brand. And then leave it open-ended with like, I would love to chat about how I can partner up with you guys. Do not in that mention, I'd love to figure out how you guys can start paying me to promote your product. That's never a good way to build true partnerships, right? So
Yeah.
Intro, value you can provide to them, value they already provide to you in your life, and then leave it open-ended to, I would love to discuss how we can work together.
Yeah, man, these are gems. This is why people need to tap into these sessions, because folks like Sam are dropping gems every single Monday. This is about how you can get paid. We're opening up new revenue streams for you. Now, what I like about what you said, because a lot of artists and managers like to be lazy and they just copy paste, copy paste, copy paste. They don't make it specific. And you can always tell. I've been on the receiving end of a lot of copy paste. It's very obvious when it is a copy paste situation.
Totally.
Sometimes you forget to change the name and you call me something else. So please do not do the copy paste. If you really want to work with a brand, you have to articulate to them, communicate to them, you know, what it is specifically you feel like you can, the value you can add, why you want to be a partner with them. Make it very specific, because the copy paste method, you might be like, at the end of the day, like, man, I just got 100 emails out. Right. But you're not going to get anybody to hit you back because it was a copy and paste job.
Totally. Well, and to echo that sentiment, I'll give you a great example of that. When we rolled out our agency side at Innovo and we started running these influencer campaigns for brands, we had a campaign for Doritos, the Mexican soda brand. They wanted to activate 135 creators, which is a massive influencer activation. At first, because we were new in the space, we built out like an Airtable database where we were scraping influencers off the internet. And then we had like a integration with something called SendGrid, where we could drag everyone into a campaign, click one button, and it would shoot them all an offer, right? We got such a low conversion rate to people who actually replied and wanted to work with the brand that to this day, 4 or 5 years later, we still email every influencer manually. Every influencer gets a custom written email. It's not a script. It's not a template. It's a written email about them and how they can collaborate with the brand. It takes way longer. Our output is way slower, but our conversion is way higher, because at the end of the day, you have to remove like the sentiment behind sales is that sales is a volume game. But if you're not if you're not connecting with people on a deeper level, then it doesn't really matter. So
Yeah.
to echo that sentiment, take the time to write the emails to the brands rather than sending 100, send 10 really powerful ones today. Connect with them on LinkedIn. See if they post anywhere else. Do they have a newsletter? Subscribe to it. Learn who these decision makers are on a much deeper level, and connect with them as people, right? Like Dame and I have been friends for years, and like it didn't start from like helping each other with like these, they're doing things like this. It started with how can I help you, how, and vice versa. And you build by providing value to other people. So it's a
Yeah.
same with pitching to brands.
Yeah. So you can set out 100 emails and nobody hits you back, and you might be like, "Man, I sent out 100 emails." Well, you should have sent out 10, and then maybe two would have hit you back, because
Right.
that's just the way it works. So please, I always get those copy and paste emails because I still work with creators, and I get stuff all the time, and it's just so obvious that it's a copy and paste situation. Um, maybe you can use AI to make things a little bit more efficient and tailor things to each company, but please take the time to do it. What's the smallest artist you've ever gotten a brand deal for, if you can remember?
Ooh. Maybe like if we're talking like actual payment, not a gifting,
Mm-hmm.
probably 10K
Okay.
followers
Okay.
on like a platform like Instagram. I typically think of influencers at like a 10K floor on a platform like Instagram, and usually like a 25 or 50K floor on TikTok, only because TikTok, the conversion into gaining followers is much easier than a platform like Instagram.
Mm-hmm.
Additionally, your content doesn't get delivered to your audience as well. So if you have 50K on TikTok and you have 10K on Instagram, you might be reaching the same amount of people.
Yeah.
Uh, but we've done like invites to events where just by having a following and posting a story, you can go to like movie premieres and different things, and those can be quite low, 5, 10K followers.
Mm-hmm.
Giftings I've seen as low as like 3 to 5K if it's a very specific niche. Like if all your content is you playing the electric guitar, even at 3 to 5K followers, that's potentially a pretty strong group of people who like
Yeah.
electric guitar content. And so if you're a strings company or pickups company or whatever, pedal company, then that might be a play for you. So
Yeah.
10K is like a comfortable floor, but you can do a lot more with a lot less.
Yeah. No, and I know that campaigns and opportunities, they vary, so that number is not going to be, a perfect number that we just can just abide by. But I think that a lot of artists have that 10K or 15K. They need to start thinking about this and start planting that seed, even if they're just getting gifts, and it's not even about getting, well, sometimes if you like the gift, then
Yeah.
maybe it's about the gift. But what does it say about your brand to be affiliated with this brand, right? Does it make your brand cooler? Are they doing a collaborative post? And now it kind of turns into a situation where their platform is tagging you, and you're getting a lot of followers from the brand in return. So there's a lot of other things you and talk about this, please. Like outside of just getting money, what are some of the benefits of working with a brand, and how should artists or creators be thinking about who to reach out to?
Yeah, I mean, I think there is an element, like you said, of like notoriety behind collaborating with a brand. Like when you post that you're doing a Chipotle promo or a Nike promo, like of course you're getting paid, but you're also working with one of the most popular and known brands in the world, right? Oftentimes those brands are asking to do collaborative posts. So like we just did something with one of our creators for DoorDash, and DoorDash, it was a collaborative reel that DoorDash and the creator both posted. So now on DoorDash's page with hundreds of thousands of followers is your content with your username attached. So notoriety in that regard is really good. Of course, revenue, but one thing that I try to constantly preach to my creators is like, would you rather get, let's say, 5K today from a brand and do one promo, and maybe you overcharged and you're probably not providing that 5K worth of value to that brand in exchange? Or would you rather build with them and do 1,000 a month for 2 years, right?
Yeah.
So yeah, it's less now, but it's far more in the long run, and you're building tangible, deep relationships with a brand. And typically, what I see is like an audience starts to latch on to that too when you're posting a bunch of times about a brand over time compared to one piece of promotional content. So I think that's also like a play here is like, don't just charge the most you can for one deal. Find something that you know you'll be able to provide that much of a win to the brand at least, and then try to build longevity with them.
Yeah, that longevity piece is crucial because it's exhausting, like always having to like pitch brands like every month or every few months. If you can lock in with a few brands, you develop a relationship, they trust that you're going to deliver, you trust that they're going to pay you and be a great partner, and it's a longer term contract as opposed to, a one-off. So you have to really think about like what you're charging them, the value. You might want to charge a little less, and you always want to over deliver so that second and third conversation is no question. Of course they're going to work with you because you delivered on so much. One of the things that I always tell creators is you have to get an understanding of like what the goal of this brand is, right? Because sometimes they have different goals. Like sometimes they're trying to grow a specific platform. Sometimes it's sales. Can you talk through like the importance of getting an understanding of like what this brand even wants from this partnership?
Totally. So we recently did a promotion for a sports betting company that's really big in the UK, and they have no presence in the US, and they're expanding heavily into the US now. And they wanted to work with one of our sports creators to basically like choose his NBA picks, but like mention that he was gambling on this specific site and using, his promo code to get a deposit match, the classic sports betting promo that we've all seen. When we spoke to them, one thing that was apparent was they're trying to develop deeper ties in the US. And because of that, they spun off socials to have like a US specific social. So they have like their main one. I'm leaving obviously the brand name out for obvious reasons. And then they were doing like brand name _US or something like that. Mm-hmm. And so one thing that was really important to them was how they could capture sports betting audiences in the US to follow this account and engage with this account. And so instead of originally when we were talking to them, it was like 3 TikToks we were talking about. We actually were able to shift that for the same budget. And I think do 1 TikTok, repost it to Instagram Reels, but as a collaborative post with the brand, because that brand's US account had no social media following. The main account had a pretty significant following, but the US one did not because it was brand new. And then share to story with a click out link as well. And I think that specific reel that now lives on that new socials page had like 500,000 views organically before paid media. So understanding what the client wants is kind of paramount to building any longevity in this space. And like you said, like we call it lily padding from brand deal to brand deal. It's like, that's the industry, which is, it's not right. And it's not what it should be. But most creators are trying to charge the most they can for every deal. And it causes them to jump from deal to deal to deal to deal to deal. But if your niche is small, right, like eventually you're going to have worked with almost everyone in that space. And if you were ripping everyone off and not providing value, then there's not much more for you to do in terms of brand deal revenue. So for us, one thing that's like really important is like building that longevity. So another quick example is we did a sports betting app, a different one, same client, funny enough, and it was for the entire NBA season. They wanted to work with us. He's usually somewhere around like 3 to 5K a post, and we probably could have got them close to that rate. But because they wanted to work with us the entire NBA season, we were able to lock them in for literally the entire season, a post a week, so 4 a month for the entire season. And we were able to negotiate like, I think it was about 6K for the month. So they were getting a discount on the per post rate. We were getting 6K guaranteed for like, a bunch of months. And then we worked out a affiliate percentage as well. So we got like $45 per first time depositor who used our code as well. And that generated an additional 20 or 30,000 on the deal for the creator. So, but if I just did one deal with them at 5 or 6K for a post, it would have been, it was great, but we did 5 or 6K and then nothing else. This deal ended up being, with all of it, like about just shy of 6 figures, So that's the benefit of longevity there.
Yeah. And what I also noticed is that, with different brands, like some brands are more sophisticated and they've had somebody in that role, so they kind of know how to work with creators. Sometimes a little less so. And I noticed that like trust needs to be built on both sides. Like on the creator side, especially in music, like there's just a cloud of skepticism that just hovers over the industry, and everybody's moving like everybody's trying to take advantage of them, right? So you might feel like, oh, this brand is trying to get one over on me. But on the flip side, if you kind of put yourself in their shoes, they've probably worked with a number of creators that just wanted the money, maybe were difficult to work with. So how do you resolve like trust issues on both sides and try to build like a relationship where, everybody's on the same page?
It's hard. I wish there was a simple answer to that, but really it's like trying to level with the person on the other end of that email. Like at the end of the day, yeah, you're talking to Nike, but you're talking to an employee at Nike, right? Like a human being whose paid job is working for Nike in that division. So at the end of the day, that's a human being, right? Like you might see them out of work and they're just like everyone else. So for me, I try to really level with those people. If it's a real priority to my client, then I'm trying to get on phone calls with that person to build almost like a friendship and rapport with them to show you like I'm not a guy on the other end of the email is just firing off prices, trying to hook you at whatever I can. Like we want to work with you and we want to build something meaningful here. So
Yeah.
what is important to you and how can we do that? And obviously, like I'm sure we're going to get into like things to negotiate and things not to negotiate and look out for in these deals, but understanding what's important to them. Like if they want to put paid media behind posts, which is called like usage rights in this case, you may not love usage rights, but if you know Nike wants usage rights, like you need to find a way to make that digestible for you, right? And make sure you can meet them there and maybe take something off of a different place in the deal. Maybe the timeline gives you a little more breathing room or there's less deliverables because you're giving them usage rights or what have you. So I think it's trying to meet them where they are, but also being honest about like, hey, we really like this part is just like a little uncomfortable for us. Like, is that a necessity to you? Can we make some pivots here? That kind of thing.
Okay. I didn't intend to do this, and maybe this exercise will fall flat on its face, but let's just say I'm a brand. What brand am I? I am, give me something. I'm Chipotle, right? And I'm coming to you because we have a new burrito or whatever, a new yeah, we're doing sandwiches now. We're doing something different. We're doing some kind of Mexican sandwiches, and I want your influencers to promote it on TikTok. How do you think through like how much to charge? Am I throwing out a number first? Are you throwing out a number? Like how does it work?
It's the classic in any creative field. It's the classic. Like I'm sure everyone's seen the meme of like the cowboy pulling a gun and saying like, "What's your rate?" and the other one pulling a gun and saying like, "What's your budget?" Right. So there is always like that classic thing where you're trying to figure out what's comfortable for them without like shooting too low or shooting too high. But I think at the end of the day, you think about what's comfortable to you, and even if you could have gotten more, again, it's about building the longevity. So I like to talk through a few different things before I send a quote. The first and most important is usage rights. So I just alluded to this, but what a usage right is how, where, and how long someone can utilize the content. So what that means is like, can Chipotle repost the content that you're posting on your page? So that's organic usage rights. Can they repost the content? But then there's paid usage rights. Can they boost your post, which is on TikTok as Spark ads, or can they, once they repost it, run ads on their post and maybe post on other platforms? So that's usage rights. A lot of brands and a lot of agencies try to get away with just baking usage rights into deals without paying for them. Always, always, always add a fee for that because you're not in control of what that brand is doing with your content. The second you give them those usage rights, you lose all control of where that content is being used, right? So with paid usage rights, for instance, a lot of smaller brands will reach out and say, "Oh, well, it helps you if we run ads on your post because now your page's post has way higher views." What you remind them, and I always do this, is like, we're not controlling who you're targeting, right? And so because we're not controlling it, you're probably targeting people who benefit the brand and what you're selling more than people who benefit my page. And so what happens then is you tank my engagement on my page because you're blasting it out to people who have no interest in me and what I do, just in the one piece of content you paid me to do. So usage rights are a huge thing, and you're negotiating typically, if it's paid usage rights, it's for term length. So it's like 7 days, 30 days, 60 days, 90 days life, right? And you charge accordingly for that. The next is exclusivities. So if you're Chipotle, you might be requiring me that I cannot promote another fast food product for 30 days. So now you're talking about opportunity cost, because what happens if I agree to this deal tomorrow? Burger King calls me and says, "Hey, we want to do a post." Well, now I can't do it because I just signed that the next 30 days I'm exclusive to Chipotle, which obviously benefits them, and it makes sense for them, because if you're posting Burger King tomorrow, you lose all respect in your niche to your audience, because why would they believe anything you're saying about Chipotle if the next day you're talking about Burger King, right? So exclusivities often dictate pricing, because if you have to be exclusive, there's inherent loss that you have from not promoting other products. The third is deliverables. So how many posts? Is it one post on TikTok? Is it 3 posts? Is it a post on TikTok shared to Instagram, right? Like there's a variety of variables there. And then timeline is another one. Do you have to get this draft back in 48 hours? Like, then you have to drop all other priorities to make it happen? Or is it reasonable in terms of timeline? And then the last two that I always add are ancillary asks. So things like link in bio, shares to other platforms. Sometimes brands will ask you to reply to any comment asking what the product is or where you got it. So things like that take additional time or impact your day-to-day, like those should have inherent value to them. And then the last and most important, honestly, is, do you like the brand? Like if you're a Moe's stan, you love Moe's, and Chipotle is hitting you up and you're kind of mad about Chipotle, like, but you might still want to do it. Although I probably would push you not to do it if you don't love the product, because your fans can smell through that. That dictates what you want to charge. So those understanding those things kind of helps you to figure out what to charge and what to kind of lob across. Typically, once I get all of that, I break it down in an email, and I usually put a price range, slightly lower than what I'd like, and quite a bit higher than what I'd like, knowing that we'll likely meet somewhere in the middle. But I like to start there, because then I can suss out, okay, if I quote 3 to 5 and they come back and say our budget for this is 2, okay, I just figured out their budget by tossing something across the line, right? And I can say, I can do 2 here, but I need you to lower the usage rights from 60 days to 30 days, or I need you to get rid of the usage rights here, or whatever you want. So it's a bit of a dance, but understanding those things is helpful, because then you can go, what's driving this price up is the usage rights you're asking for. So if your budget's lower, then we can discuss lowering the usage rights or getting rid of them, right? And doing that, I think, is a great negotiation tactic for being like, what's your budget? And they just don't want to do that. So
negotiating is a skill, and it takes time. I think sometimes there probably are opportunities where you could have gotten more money, but it's all a learning experience, and you should always be thinking about like the long-term potential of the partnership. And I can't reiterate that enough. I know that I recently, or last year, I negotiated a brand deal for Big Jaw, and I knew that I could have gotten more because they said yes way too fast.
Right.
I said amount. They said yes. I was like, shit. They said yes way too fast. But it's a learning experience, and you still want to over deliver no matter what you get paid, so that you can have that conversation again.
But if I recall, that brand came back to you for the
we're still working
why, right?
For sure.
If you charged more, maybe they wouldn't have, right? So like that's a great. Yes, you charge lower than you could have gotten, but you built longevity with the brand, which is debatably more important,
And we typically post more than we're contracted to do it. So we really want to show them, like, look, we appreciate the opportunity, and we want to continue working with you. So that's part of over delivering. So I think we've had this conversation before, because I hate affiliate deals. What is an affiliate deal? Should you ever participate in one? And if so, like, when would that be?
Yeah. So an affiliate deal is basically when a brand says to you, hey, we don't have a budget here, but if you can put this link in your bio, or you can use this discount code to promote to your audience, we will pay you X percentage or X dollar flat fee dollar figure based on your sales, right? So most of the time that's actually physical sales. So, hey, use my code for 10% off on, I don't know why Fashion Nova came to my head, but use 10% off for clothes on Fashion Nova. And then anyone who's buying using your code, Fashion Nova is kicking you a percentage of that revenue. So it's called an affiliate deal, as Dan was saying, but a lot of bigger creators, like most bigger creators, will avoid them because the thought process is I'm providing a lot more value than just physical conversions into sales, brand awareness, brand recognition, maybe tangible follows on your account, which has a value that isn't corresponding yet into sales. So sometimes we'll do hybrid deals where it's like, hey, we're usually $3,000 a post, but I know you don't have that, so give us $2,000 and we'll take a small affiliate thing, right? So sometimes we'll do that. Very, very rarely do we consider just like an affiliate offering, unless it's a product that we absolutely love and want to back. So maybe it's a mom and pop business or a small product that doesn't have a budget, but you just love it so much that you want to get the word out about it. Then that kind of thing makes sense. But there's all kinds of other offerings beyond affiliate deals where it's like what's called CPM deals, CPI deals. So CPM stands for cost per thousand views, M being the Roman numeral. And so you can get paid based on video performance. So like we'll pay you $5 per thousand views up to X, right? And then CPIs are meant for apps. So a lot of like games on your phone will do CPI deals where they'll pay you $3 or $1 per iOS download using your unique link, and they track it with a UTM link. So there's a variety of ways. I try to, of course, push for flat fee guarantees. The majority of the creators I manage are quite large in the macro or hero categories. So they may have done affiliate deals before I came on board, but for the most part, where they're at, they're too busy with other deals for it to make sense. But when you're starting as a creator, I think it doesn't hurt to do affiliate deals. It also gives you something that nowhere else will give you, which is tangible data on your actual influence, right? Mm-hmm. So if hey, when I pushed this headband product, I sold 1,000 headbands. You can go and take that to tons and tons of brands and say, look at the direct impact my marketing had on this product. This is why you need to pay me $10,000 to do this, right? Yeah. So it's leverageable data, but I think you get to a certain size where it's no longer super beneficial.
Yeah, man, I hope the people watching this are understand how important and valuable this information is, because I like I said, I'm gonna say it a million times. I wish I would have had access to something like this in 2008, because it would just save you so much time and probably make you so much more money if you're equipped with this information. Totally. The affiliate deal, I think we're considering one, but only because like the percentage is like 40%. It's a high percentage. And it's a product that I think would resonate really well with his audience. I feel like we can knock this out the park. So that would be another case where okay, because a lot of times it's just like, 10% on some product that we're not really too excited about, don't know if it'll sell that well. But if it's something that you think you could have massive influence over and your audience will really benefit from it, and it's a percentage that you're comfortable with, if it's 25 plus 30, 40%, then it's maybe something that you would want to entertain.
Totally. Yeah, totally.
I know I forgot to do this the last couple of weeks, but if you have any questions, just put them in the comments. If you're on YouTube, LinkedIn, I believe on Twitch or Twitter, your comments will flow through to the platform that I'm looking at right now. So just put them in the comment section. I know we're covering a lot of stuff, and an hour is not enough time to go through everything we need to talk about when it comes to brand deals. But please put your questions in the comments, and we will try to get to them. I might have even exhausted all my. I think we covered some heavy hitters. Is there something just top of mind that you're like, man, we should really talk about this?
Yeah, I mean, we can talk about like the biggest mistake I see with people who build social media presences, and and aren't monetizing their audience is like, I kind of alluded to this early, but it's not having your email in your bio. I'll give you a great example. Today, I was doing outreach for a record label campaign that we're working. And so we have a budget. There's no affiliate deals. It's all like flat fee guarantees. We pay super fast compared to all other agencies. And I'm doing research and I find like the perfect 3 creators. I go to their TikTok, no email in their bio. Okay. They don't even have a link tree in their bio to find their other socials. So now I have to copy their username, go to Instagram, drop that in. Oh, well, they don't have the same username on Instagram. I finally find them on Instagram. There's no link in their bio. There's no email. I don't have the time to be DMing influencers, hoping that they see it to offer them money. Right. So like, I just, if we have to DM you, we skip you. I don't care who you are, we skip you. So if your email's not in your bio, it's immediately missed opportunities. Also, the creators that win email and bio, and also some kind of like multi-link, like a link tree or a Blossom, or there's tons of them. But so I can go from your TikTok to your Instagram to your YouTube to your email effortlessly, and everything in one place. So nice, right? Like you got to think about who's on the other end of that thing. Like I'm sitting at an office on a computer. I'm looking at TikTok on a computer. I'm not on my phone when I'm looking for creators. So I'm clicking straight from the browser on their profile. And if their email and their bio isn't there, I'm not switching to my phone to go DM them. So
yeah,
immediately missed opportunity.
Yeah. A lot of you creators, man, you make it so hard to help you. You say you want a career in this, but some of the basics, you just miss some of and you miss so many opportunities. And yeah, it's one thing to have your email in your bio, but are you checking your email? There's so many artists that miss opportunities because they don't even check their email. I'm assuming you saw their email, you emailed them a real opportunity, and you haven't heard back. Has that happened a lot of times?
Every day. I got an email last month, and I sent an email to a creator in 2021 for a brand deal that would have paid them like $3,000 for the easiest 15 seconds of their lives. $3,000. I have like a red tracker on my email so I can see where they opened it from, what device, and when. They had opened the email like 20 times. Obviously, we moved on. We worked with other creators. We've done hundreds of campaigns since then. A month ago, I got an email reply from 2021, a month ago, saying, "Oh my God, I can't believe I missed this. Is this campaign still available?" I like at first I was like, I'm not going to reply, but I had to. Like it was eating at me not to be like, this was three years ago. Like,
yeah,
no, it's not still open. Like,
and folks hit me. They're like, "Damn, how come you're not excited about managing, creators anymore? This shit, I don't got time to be, answering your emails for you. Like, answer your email. This is basic stuff. You're missing out on opportunities just by not doing some of the most basic things possible.
Totally.
It's really pretty wild. There was a question here. You mentioned a website for finding emails.
Yeah, there's several. There's a bunch of them actually, but a couple good ones are Zoom Info, Hunter.io, I believe it is, which is I think it's a Chrome plugin, which is cool. Apollo.io is another good one. So you can like, if you find the person on LinkedIn, you can go to Apollo and literally drop the LinkedIn link in. It'll search them, find them, and populate all their emails. Sometimes their work emails, sometimes their personal emails, sometimes like 10 different emails. If you can't find them on there, another tactic then is go back to the company page on Apollo, and what it might do is show you other people's emails that it could find. Just replace the beginning part with that person's name. If it's Kevin at Nike and that other person's name is Sam, you could probably assume it's Sam at Nike, right? So you can type that in on your email and see if it populates like an image for the person or if they have an actual live email. If it bounces, then look around and see what other emails people have in Nike. Maybe it's K dot last name. So now just trial and error, right? But those platforms are great. Some of them cost money. Some of them you get a certain amount of credits a month or a day or a week. So mess around with it. Also just Google them, Google their name, find their social media. Like sometimes we'll find someone and they have a blog on the side or like a photography platform and their personal emails are there. And we're able to at least be like, sorry for emailing you on your personal. I couldn't find your work email, but like this creator is too perfect for me not to bother you on your personal email, right? So just, you got to get scrappy. Like this is as much as it's not competition, because we preach collaboration over competition. All these brands have a certain amount of budget, right? Every quarter, every month, whatever it is.
Mm-hmm.
It's if it isn't you, it's me who's getting paid, right? So like,
Yeah.
so if you're not doing the things that I'm going to be doing, then I'm going to beat you to it, right? And vice versa. So that's just what it takes to get in front of these people. Sometimes it's not ideal, but it's what it is.
A little bit of effort, y'all. It takes a little bit of effort. Even at this point, I do some of the smallest tasks for a job because I know that it's necessary and I know that it moves the needle. So you have to take the time to do some of these smaller things. It might be a pain in the ass, but it's worth it. Um, Damn, what was I about to say? I was about to say something else too. I forgot. I mean, there's another question here. I'll think about it while we put this other question up. Is it better to have a representative for the artist to reach or for the artist to reach out themselves?
I don't think it matters. I think I don't think it matters. I think if you're DMing, it's better to come from the artist. Same way like tour opportunities or anything else in the music industry. Like I always tell my artists, like you should be DMing the artist if it's a tour opportunity. I'll hit up the manager and our agent will hit up the agent, right? Like we should be hitting them from all sides. So I think it's the same thought process here. Like you can email them as yourself. You can make a fake manager name and email them from an email pretending to be a manager to give yourself more clout if that makes you feel better. But I would say like shoot them a DM as the artist or the content creator. Say, hey, I love your brand. Because then if I'm DMing them as the manager, they're not looking at the creator's page, they're looking at my page. But if I'm a creator with a significant following and I'm shooting them a DM, it suddenly like gets their attention a little more. For email, I don't think it matters. Like some people like to make like a fake manager name and pretend to be the manager on email. Whichever floats your boat, I don't think it makes a difference.
What I do like to do though is even if I'm the one reaching out and I establish communication and now we're just kind of going back and forth, or maybe we've locked in the deal, I bring the creator into the Zooms as quick as possible so that they can meet them, show that he's tapped in, like genuinely tapped in. It's not just me gassing up the situation, but but really the artist doesn't give a shit. I try to bring them to the table and have them meet him so that he's a really cool cat. He's really authentic and he's really rocking with us. Dame's not just gassing us up,
Totally. Well, and something that does, which is really unique, is it shows them, like you said, that the creator themselves actually cares. Mm-hmm. We did that with a creator who's also an artist, like an influencer, an artist. Him and I got flown to Arizona by Jake Paul's team. He owns a sports betting company called BETR. They flew us in for the Jake Paul versus Anderson Silva fight just to meet them and shoot content with them. We didn't charge them. Like we just collaborated organically, and then they covered our flights and stuff and gave us actually some reimbursement for other things. But for us, it was just like we got this amazing opportunity to build with people way above the creator's current position, purely by showing them that he cared and was interested beyond me just telling them he cared. So that's a great tool to use.
I know what I forgot to mention. We were talking about trying to find emails, and this is where networking is so crucial. Once you start to have years in this, LinkedIn is always going to be a great tool, but hopefully your network grows to a point where you're just a couple degree separation from whoever you're trying to get to at whatever company. And LinkedIn is a good place just to kind of see, okay, this person might be in my immediate network, or there might be somebody at this company that knows somebody that I know, right? Because a warm intro, rather than just getting an email from some website, which may be the only option available to you at this point. Hopefully, eventually you grow your network and you're actually able to speak with somebody that knows that person and they can do a warm intro. And obviously that goes way further than just kind of a cold email out the blue.
Totally. I would say that is a super strong tool, but just make sure you also are doing that for other people, because if you take in this industry, you will have a short-lived career. So if you're ignoring other people's messages to warm intro them, and then you're expecting others to warm intro you, it's kind of like a something that won't last for very long. So make sure you're also providing value to others. But yeah, the LinkedIn like mutual contacts is such a great and useful tool. Also, one other thing we didn't talk about, a lot of these bigger companies use agencies to handle this work for them. So if you've worked with a few agencies, try to find out what other brands they are working with, right? Like we worked with a big agency that did Dairy Queen, and then we found out they also represented like a couple hotel brands and a couple other food brands. And so we made sure, like when we had the right pitch, we just went straight back to the agency that we already provided value to. I didn't have to get in contact with someone at these massive hotel companies, right? I just went to the agency that's the middleman between the two. So there's a ton of like unique ways to get in, you know?
Yeah. Well, we're almost up on the hour, Sam, man. You killed this session. We should have charged for this session. There's so many gems in this session. If you watched it, hopefully you're grateful. Share it with a friend. If once this is up on YouTube and people want to know about brand deals, brand sponsorships, I'm just going to claim this is the best brand partnership session that's ever existed. So make sure you tap in with Sam. Sam, where can they tap in with you? Where are you on Instagram, or where are you most? Where can they reach out to you?
Yeah, for sure. I appreciate your time as well, and appreciate you giving me a platform to share this stuff, and to Two Lost, of course. Instagram is where I'm most active. My Instagram handle is Sam the Manager _. There is an underscore at the end. Sam the Manager _. If you follow me and shoot me a DM and mention this session, I will follow you back, and then you can DM me any questions you have. And I'm always happy to, within reason, provide value add to others. Once you start asking for too much, there will be consultation considerations, but always happy to provide any value I can back. And I post a ton of content, short form content on my Reels and my TikTok, which is TikTok's the same handle too. So feel free to tap in with me there. Yeah. And if you love this session, you were talking about charging, I would love for you to make a donation to your favorite charity. If you found value.
Not us charging. I'm just saying, like the session was so like.
I know what you're saying. I'm saying that to anyone who's watching who felt that much value, if you found something that was worth monetizing, please donate to charity. Yeah.
I've been Two Lost office hours. These sessions will always be free. I think it just annoys me sometimes that, people don't like understand the value of good information anymore. And the expectation is that everything should be free, right? These will always be free, but I've paid for a lot of education in my life. I think good information, especially these days where it's just so much information out there, so much bad information. Right. If you have someone that offers great information and adds value to what you're doing, then compensate them for that information.
Totally. I've made costly mistakes in my career and hope to share the things I've learned from them in these sessions for people to not make those mistakes,
Yeah. And again, I'm not arguing for us to ever charge for Two Lost office hours. This will always be free. You can come here every Monday at 12 p.m. and meet somebody super reputable, dropping hella gems for free. I was just speaking in general, just kind of my own little gripe about some of the things I see online about people and their expectations. But Sam, I appreciate you once again. We're going to have you back next week. Damn, I think my next week is still open. I'm gonna have to figure out who I'm bringing on next week, but we'll announce them in a few days. If you're at Music Biz, I'm in Nashville right now for Music Biz. We are sponsoring Digilog's Artist Showcase tomorrow night. Come out. Would love to meet you in person. But this has been another great episode of Two Lost Office Hours with my guy Sam Saideman, CEO of Innovo. Check him out at Sam the Manager _. And we'll see y'all next week. Peace.
Peace.